Hello, hello. Welcome back, welcome back. How's everyone doing? Hello, everyone. Hello. We are live, aren't we? We are live. We're live. There's always a little delay from me clicking the go live button and then you guys acknowledging that I'm live. If you all came to an agreement, let's not say anything, I would have not the foggiest idea if I was live or not, to be honest with you. But yes, welcome everyone. Good to see you. Welcome back. Hope you're refreshed. Had to change a shirt. So early today because the missus has taken the little one out. Although they're just about to walk through the door apparently. So yeah, thankfully not all of my duties, but a lot of my daddy duties have been relinquished this week, the weekend. So very thankful for that. So yes, the Ferrari shirt has got it's still here. It's just in the wash. So, but welcome everyone. Hope you're good. Nice sprint earlier today. It was all right, wasn't it? It was all right. I think Spa just doesn't lend itself. I think now I've been thinking about it. Long circuits don't lend themselves to a good sprint race. If you think of all the good sprint races we've had, they've been at shorter circuits. I think like shorter circuits where obviously there's a lot more load on the tyres and so forth. I think longer circuits, especially the ones we've been to this year, like Spa and Shanghai, especially where like that's the thing is that majority of people run like lower downforce setups and things. You need shorter circuits for sprint races where they can run more high downforce setups where the DRS is more effective, i.e. Red Bull Ring, i.e. Interlagos. Like that's where that's where sprint races really come into their own. Pardon me. And I think that's where we need to see them in the future. So, are you on uncle duty today to a 3-year-old pulling your hair out? She only pulls my hair out if I put it in the vicinity and in her reach. She's not moving yet. She's close. She wants to stand up all the time, but yeah, she's not crawling yet. Hey Mark, good to see you. Yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. So remember to get your votes in. Who's going to be on pole position? Could be a completely different scenario. We are expecting a lot of rain tomorrow. It is dry out there right now, so there's no rain today pretty much. But tomorrow the forecast is not looking good. So it seems all the rain that was predicted for this weekend is arriving tomorrow. So yes, teams have to make a conscious effort on their downforce levels, which is going to mix the order up a little bit, I think. So we will see. We will see. Not long to find out. My pleasure, Troy. My pleasure. If you want more F1 content, of course, I am part of the Missed Apex podcast, so you can check out the Missed Apex podcast. I did do like a review, basically, or I know I had to kind of dip off a little bit earlier than I would like to earlier. It's because I had to do a sprint race review for the Missed Apex podcast, which I'm a part of, so you can go check that out. I think that will be going up. Oh, risk of rain for F1 sprint is 10%, ladies and gentlemen. 10%. There we go, 10% at the top of your screen there. So, 10% in Spa means normally 50%. Saw the F1 movie last night, overlooking all the technical ignorance and cringe dialogue about combat. You liked it? Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the consensus, I think, for most people that have seen it, or that I know that have seen it. I haven't seen it yet. No, I was just saying this yesterday on stream. I'm going to wait till it's available on a streaming platform. And then I'll sit down and watch it with the missus. So, hey Stefano, good to see you. Rod, good to see you from a very hot Thailand as always. Good to see you, mates. When the race was finished, you were calling the second lap. Totally, why, mate? I know. I always call. You know. I mean, I do know some things. Some things that come out of my mouth. I do know what I'm talking about. Looking forward to the 2026 regs. Cars are increasing difficulty. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting set of regulations. Who knows what the order's going to be? No, this is not F1 Sprint quali. This is the full quali for the race tomorrow. So teams have been able to change their setups from the sprint race. They're now no longer in Parc Ferme until qualifying begins. They are weighing up the decision of their downforce levels primarily. We've seen Max Verstappen there run a very low downforce setup, which is why he was able to slingshot past Oscar Piastri into the lead and win the race and hold him off as well. But the race tomorrow is going to be in wet conditions. I haven't seen a forecast that says anything under 60%, 70%, around 60 to 70% weather, rain. So I think we're going to see basically wet setups in dry conditions. We could see some team that completely gambles and goes for that low downforce setup and is completely in a position where they don't belong. But they will be probably in no man's land tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see what teams decide to gamble and which teams decide to play it a little bit safe. What's the altitude of the track? I don't know off the top of my head, unfortunately. So Leclerc seem to have a wet setup, so this should be interesting. I don't know if he had a wet set. He didn't have a wet setup earlier on, I don't think. But I imagine they will be now. Boo-boo, Are you a neutral viewer, or do you support a team or any particular drivers? So the only driver I am a fan of, and I say this all the time, is Lewis Hamilton. It's the only driver I am a fan of on the actual grid. I like some drivers more than others, but ultimately I'm a fan of the sport, and I want to see a close championship battle. That's what I watch for the racing, for the thrill of wheel-to-wheel battling. Of course, you always have a horse in the race. You try and stay neutral, but even if you don't necessarily like support someone, you always have like, oh, I prefer to see that person win over that person, you know. But Lewis is like the only driver that Lewis is the only driver. The reason I say I'm a fan is because he's the only driver I consciously keep an eye on where he is up and down the grid. So, and that's because I've watched him racing growing up. So, hey Amy, good to see you. Borna, good morning. I'm your favourite content creator. Oh, thanks, mate. Ferrari up Road Rouge in the wet. No, thanks. So, interestingly, Lewis Hamilton has given us a bit of insight into what happened with his spin yesterday in Sprint Quali. So, he said it's in relation to an update that Charles Leclerc had on his car back in Montreal. So, remember, he had the braking issue. He locked up going into turn 3 and he crashed into the barriers. Apparently, that's the exact same issue that Lewis had, and it's from the update that has eventually been put on his car this weekend. That's what he said. Whether you believe that or not, I don't know. But yeah, that's why. So F1 has changed so much over the last 20 years. It's different, but the same. Yeah, exactly. Different, but good. Different still. Only a few people think Lando will be on pole. I think it will be quick. My prediction is Lando, Piastri. I think it's going to be a McLaren 1-2. I still think Piastri is going to be on pole. I think he has the upper hand on Norris this weekend. So I think if you look at the trend, Piastri is on top of Norris. They did a very good segment before I came live with Rosberg and Anthony Davidson, where they analysed the data of their laps yesterday in Q3. And Piastri is just like, I mean, especially Q1, his first corner is just so much better than Norris's. So we'll see. We'll see if there's maybe been any learnings from the last couple of days or last couple of sessions from Norris. But I do suspect that if Red Bull are having to add downforce to their car, it will be probably max P3, Piastri and Norris. At the moment, I don't see the top 3 being any different than what they have been thus far. Ferrari don't seem to be quite there. Russell and Antonelli definitely don't seem to be there. So I think it's going to be a McLaren lockout of the front row. Piastri first, Norris second, Verstappen third. So, Chris, watching my streams from the USA, upstate New York. Brilliant, mate. Good to see you. Welcome. What time is it for you? You're, 5 hours behind? Was it mid-morning for you? Mid-morning? Hoping we see some improvements from the Mercs today. Hasn't been a good weekend thus far. No. I just don't think they're really at it. I mean, unless George Russell, unless they've found and unlocked some performance. I mean, George did supposedly pick up some damage yesterday from the gravel that Antonelli had thrown out on track, which cost him a poor qualifying. But even then, in the race today, didn't exactly make any movement, did he, up forward? So, hey, Gav. Do I think Ferrari will do good today? No, is the short answer. No. KLM, on YouTube, some people are saying Lewis is being sabotaged by Ferrari. Any thoughts? That's a load of hogwash. It's a load of hogwash. He's not being sabotaged. Jesus. People will do anything for clicks these days. Could there be any surprises in this quali? I think so. I don't think there will be at the top, but I think we'll see some of the midfield teams qualify maybe higher than they should do. So, yeah, because of those downforce levels, I think one of the midfield teams is going to gamble on a low downforce setup. They're just going to go, sod it. Let's just try and qualify as high as we can and try and hold on to that tomorrow and hope that the weather report is completely wrong. Someone's going to do it. I just don't know which team is going to do it, but we'll see. Alboreto, good to see you, Michelle. Clickbait, it is clickbait. Well, it's mainly clickbait, and it's I've said this before, not to go down this rabbit hole. There are a couple of drivers on the grid, no matter what sort of content you do about them, they will get clicks. There's a reason why certain publications and certain channels will always do content on Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris. Those are the three drivers that I've noticed particularly that gain a lot of views and a lot of clicks. And that's why, even if it's like the smallest of a comment that they've made in an interview, someone will write a whole article about it or they'll do a whole video on it. So yeah, that's why. So you have to take a lot of things with a pinch of salt. There's only a few people. As I said, there's only a few journalists out there that I kind of take their word for a lot of things. So, how can it be sabotaged when the team itself sabotages them? When they sabotage themselves? Fair point. Exactly. Any penalties this weekend? None thus far, Amy. But now you've said that, you've probably jinxed it. Chances of rain on race day is very high from what I've seen. So let me just double check again to see if there's been any movement. BBC Spark weather. So we are checking this now, and tomorrow. It's dropped down a little bit, but it's saying thunderstorms. So you can see here. Sorry if this is a bit skewy. I'm just going to turn you guys off for a sec here so that you can see. But that's the BBC report for tomorrow. So raining in the morning, heavy in the morning up until 11. It starts to die off a little bit, but it's still around the 40% mark. So that's the BBC. I've seen other weather reports that say it's higher than that as well. So it could be many things. Do I think Spa is still a true driver's circuit in modern F1 qualifying, as the gap between car performance and driver talent widened too much for pure skill to shine here? I'd say there's more. There's more probably on the performance side. You're more car dependent here than you are driver dependent at Spa, because 70% of the lap is on full throttle. So if you get the setup incorrect, if you have a car that doesn't have enough horsepower, like maximizes that performance, this is a track where your car is going to struggle. So the driver still always makes a difference, but I do think this is a track where this will expose your whole it will expose your whole operations, to be honest. If you get that setup completely wrong, it's a track where you're just struggling all weekend. And as we mentioned, power as well. This is why we see normally an engine power unit penalty be taken, which we don't know we still don't know if that's going to be the case yet. The weather may put a spanner in that works, because what's the point of benefiting from a new power unit if it's going to be wet on the Sunday? You don't get that benefit as you would do. It's not going to be as much of an advantage as it is in dry conditions, but that's something that we have seen so often here. So do I think Christian Horner will get another job in F1? I think he'll either become an owner or he'll become a team principal again, maybe in like 5 to 10 years' time, when everything's died down and people kind of forgot about how his time at Red Bull came to an end. So, Pro, you saw Max's move in the sprint race. Really was a lesson in how to overtake. You don't always have to be too close to the car ahead, otherwise you'll end up braking hard in the corners. No, it's all about, obviously, with the toe. You want to be able to have enough to slingshot and stay full throttle. through Eau Rouge. The key is not to be too close for Eau Rouge, because otherwise the car ahead can slightly lift, or you have to lift in yourself because you get too close to them and then you lose that speed. So yeah, it was very well executed by Max. What do I think Oscar will do? Shut Max out from overtaking on T1 lap 1, providing Oscar gets front row for Max behind. So sometimes there's only so much that you can possibly do. By the way, I didn't have this on. There's only so much that you can possibly do when you're the car out up front. I think tomorrow will be very different circumstances, because I think you're going to have wetter conditions, and I think we will probably be starting on the intermediate tyre at minimum. So that downforce setup, that top speed advantage, that's what we're gonna keep an eye out on here today, is the top speeds. By the way, we saw where McLaren were yesterday in their top speeds. They were around 10th to 13th. They're in the bottom 10. We'll see if that stays the same. And of course Esteban Ocon and the Haas's, they were top. They were the fastest through sector 1, so we can kind of tell where the downforce trims are going to be from the top speeds and from the sector times that we saw yesterday, comparing them to today. When is it going to start? Where's the clock? It's there. I've got it there. So, do I think someone is going to spin out like Lewis did? I don't think so. No, I think they will learn their lessons now. But everyone's waiting at the end of the pit lane. As you could see, all their icons move to the end of the pit lane there. So just over a minute to go until Q1 is underway. 18 minutes, remember. No medium tyres this time around. Maybe someone will want to use them, but it is now back to traditional qualifying format. Normally, we'll see enough of an opportunity for 2 push laps here, even at a long circuit like Spa. Missed a sprint race, but watch the highlights on F1 YouTube. From what I see, clean air is king. 100%. Always is. It always is, Swim. Good to see you, mate. Did not expect Stuffeyy fans are Piastri glazers like him. I love him too, but maybe it's not his time yet. Look, we have people of all fans here. We do. We truly do. So, believe me or not, we even have Lance Stroll fans in here. I know there's a few of you there. I see you. Now, we are here. It's okay to be a fan of anyone here, as long as you're fair and respectful. That's why we've got the mods here as well. So, yes. And also, I keep the mods in check. So, mods, be nice. But everyone, be nice to each other. So, right. 8 seconds until Q1 is underway. Let's go. We have Pastor Maldonado fans. Is it green lights? Doesn't say green light yet. Yes, green light now, as there's a notification for an unsafe release for Behrman and Alonso. Q1 is underway. Pierre Gasly back going, thankfully. He did get out yesterday, so I did see someone ask whether they fixed Pierre Gasly's engine. They most definitely have, because he is out there right now. My pleasure, replay. My pleasure. Oh, as Alonso's already trying to get Ollie Behrman a penalty. Don't give Ollie Behrman a penalty for an unsafe release. Please. The guy deserves one weekend where he doesn't get a penalty, although it is his own fault. So, interestingly, teams out on used sets of softs at the moment. Of course, we have already had Sprint QUALI, and we've also had FP1. So, some teams have used a set of softs already. So, Alex Albon there on a set of 7-lap-old softs. So, they'll be going out there to get a banker lap in, I presume, and then they will be coming back in for a brand new set of softs, because there's no way that you're going to be able to get through Alex Albon, I believe, on a set of 7-lap-old softs. 8 laps by the time he is done finishing this. With the Constructors' battle intensifying, do I think teams will play it safe in Spa quality or go all in for track position, especially? Well, this is the question. I think primarily you need to set up for the race tomorrow. You don't want to... It's not a circuit and it's not conditions tomorrow where you want a low down. Well, it's not conditions tomorrow that are forecast where you want a low downforce setup. You're just going to struggle so badly, whereas you need the downforce. So I think we're going to see a different change of the order, but I do think some teams will take a gamble, or some drivers will take a gamble of going for a lower downforce setup, as as Lance Stroll has just made contact with Nico Hülkenberg or Gabriel Bortoleto in the pit lane. Interesting there. Hülkenberg and Stroll noted unsafe release. So a few unsafe releases there, both Aston Martins involved, but let's stay on board with Pierre Gasly, shall we? He got into Q3 yesterday, but unfortunately he had a water leak in his engine, which meant he had to start from the pit lane and finish 2 laps down in the sprint race earlier on today. So he'll be looking forward to another good qualifying and hopefully improve tomorrow. He deserves it because he's been very good recently. Of course, at Colapinto as well. He's on the medium compound tyre. Surprised he's not on a set of softs because, well, he needs a good bit of confidence at the moment, Colapinto, as he's always been qualifying down towards the bottom of the grid. But Pierre Gasly making his way through Lecombe there. Let's see how he fares. His first sector time was a 30.207, so a bit slower than that of Colapinto on a fresh set of mediums. Yesterday, we did see, I think, the guys break into the 28-second range, I think we saw, or at least the low 29s yesterday when it came to Q1. So we'll see if anyone is able to do that again today. That'll be a key indication, of course, of downforce configurations and setups and so forth. But we'll keep an eye on everyone else. There's Sainz a 30.4 from him, Albon a 30.7, Lawson a 30.3, Stroll a 30.5. So no one sub 30 seconds as of yet. We'll keep an eye out on the Haas's because while they are on used tyres, they were very quick and they were quickest through the first sector yesterday, as Ollie Behrman has indeed done, only a 30.3 there. Colapinto fastest in the first and middle sector as it currently stands. Of course, only Gasly and himself have made their way through the middle sectors. Albon has now as well, but he is nearly a second down, Albon, as Lawson's getting a bit of a move on a bit fresh set of softs, sub 44 seconds in the middle sector for Liam Lawson in the RB car. But Gasly interesting. Gasly dives into the pit lane. So was that because of his slow middle sector? Because it was a 45 for Gasly? Maybe. Potentially there. I think Gasly maybe bowed out of that lap. We'll keep an eye on Lewis Hamilton, of course, there. He's on a set of 7 lap used softs. So all the big boys, I say all the big boys because Verstappen isn't out there yet, but the majority of them are on used tyres. But it seems Max Verstappen is on a fresh set of softs. So he's not wasting any time and he's out there on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, as is George Russell, as is Antonelli as well. But the Ferraris are on a set of used, as are the McLarens. But Colapinto dived into the pit lane as well. So I'm not quite sure why they pushed Colapinto out there on a set of mediums and then they dived into the pit lane. Same as Liam Lawson. What is happening out there at the moment? Is there rain in the air? I don't get it. Why are they diving into the pit lane? That seemed a bit bizarre from them, considering Lawson was on a set of new softs as well. Unless he made a conscious mistake. I'm waiting to see the TV coverage to see if that is the case, but that was a bit bizarre, as Lando Norris is the only driver thus far to set an actual lap time, which is a 42.0. So, yeah, a bit strange. Lando, as is so often the case, as we've seen this weekend, Piastri pips Lando there, only by 0.08 of a second. So, yeah, a bit strange, but really those teams, the Alpines, a bit bizarre there. Ocon's also diving back into the pit lane as well. I don't know what the whole reason for those laps were, to be perfectly honest with you. Maybe they just wanted to see what the setups were doing. Scrubbing sets. It's not so much scrubbing sets. It's more so the fact, I mean, it's a long lap to scrub a set of soft tyres. It seems a bit wasteful, to be perfectly honest with you, unless they were actual mistakes from Liam Lawson, who was on a brand new set of tyres. Same as Colapinto as well. Bit bizarre, but yeah, we'll see. Or maybe they just think that there's too much improvement, that it's will be a waste of time with such a long lap here to go and do another finish that lap, do a cool down lap, and then do another out lap. So maybe that's the loss of time is more of their issue there, because they've seen a ramp up in the track evolution even this early on in Q1. They're just out there having fun in Q1. Yeah. Does Colapinto have the fastest first sector? At this moment in time, he does have the fastest first sector. But Kimi Antonelli has gone very close to taking it away from him, as he is on a push lap at this moment in time. So we'll keep an eye on Kimi Antonelli out there. And George Russell's gone fastest in that first sector, a 30.130. But we have seen quicker, of course, over the duration of this weekend in that first sector. But with lower downforce setups. So if someone goes really low sub 29s, then that will be a key indication of kind of what rear wing they're running. So we'll keep an eye on Max Verstappen as he's on a brand new fresh set of softs. So let's keep an eye on Max, shall we, and see how he fares. Over 300 kilometers an hour as he went through the top of Eau Rouge. Radion there makes his way down the Kemmel Straight, DRS open. Let's see what his first sector time is going to be. Is it going to be a sub 29, sub 30 seconds, sorry, in the 29s? We'll see as he makes his way through Lacombe. No, 30.3. So that right there, this early on, I don't think I saw Max Verstappen do a 30.3 at all yesterday in quali. So I think they've maybe slapped on a bit more downforce on that car. So for a sprint weekend, what if the fastest lap from each driver in the sprint race was used to set grid positions for the GP? Use the fastest lap from practice to set the grid for the sprint. I don't know. I think the format they've got at the moment is pretty good. As Antonelli finally puts in a good lap. It's still over 7 tenths off of Oscar Piastri, and he's on a brand new fresh set of tyres as he did a 42.7. George Russell 5.5 tenths back of Oscar Piastri as well. So on a long circuit like this, that is a big gap. Big gap. Even at a long circuit like this is what I meant to say. That is a big gap. But thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, if you can hit that like button, let's get this stream to over 1,000 likes, shall we? And if you can hit the subscribe button, we are trying to push to 55,000 subscribers. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, for the main race. We'll be live an hour before it goes ahead as Verstappen splits the two McLarens there and does a 42.066. Yuki Tsunoda up there. Good lap time from him as well. Just under 4 tenths back from Oscar Piastri, so much better there. Max Verstappen's middle sector was on par pretty much with that of the two McLarens, and he was slightly ahead, by a couple of hundredths in the last sector as well. But it seems that the McLarens are still considerably slow through the first sector, as Verstappen is actually, this will blow your mind guys, Verstappen is actually the slowest at the moment in the first sector out of anyone out there. But we can see track evolution. Oh wow, this track is ramping up a little bit because Lawson has just gone in there with the fastest lap of anyone, a 41.765. Oof. Wow, Mad Cat, thank you. Welcome to the pit crew, buddy. Much appreciated. If you want to support this channel further, you can hit that join button and support and become a member of this channel. Alex Albon up there into P2. Ollie Behrman up into P3. So, Esteban Ocon, as Sainz goes fastest at the moment with a 41.691. Lewis Hamilton has just gone purple in the first sector. So this track is massively ramping up, or there is a considerable difference in the setup choices. But I do believe it's probably the fact that these drivers are on brand new tyres, whereas Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris were on used tyres, by the way, guys. They were on 6-lap-old softs. So, yes, there is massive improvement still to be had by the two McLarens, who are now... They're still out there. They're out there on a brand new set of softs. But Lewis Hamilton is going quite nicely. Charles Leclerc not far behind his teammate as well, with a 30 flat in the first sector, 43.5 for him in the middle sector. He's only 6th fastest, so he's lost a bit of time in that middle sector. As Gasly's gone fastest in the last sector and gone up into P8. It's very tight up there at the moment. As Leclerc goes quickest with a 41.635, but that's only 0.05 of a second quicker than that of the Williams. But let's see how Lewis Hamilton fares. A good slow middle sector for Lewis Hamilton, though, unfortunately. The time that he gained in that first sector, he has lost in that middle sector. He is 3 tenths slower than Charles Leclerc as it currently stands. So a poor middle sector for Lewis Hamilton. Let's see if he can recover it in the last sector. It won't be as quick as his teammate unless he sets purple. And no, look at that, a 6th place at the moment for him, behind Ollie Behrman, Albon, Lawson and Carlos Sainz. 11th fastest in the second sector and 13th fastest in the last sector there for Lewis. So not sure what occurred there, but a clear error by Lewis has cost him a considerable amount of time after a purple first sector. But let's stay tuned with Lando Norris, shall we? The driver looking to, of course, stick it on pole position and potentially get ahead of his teammate. Does he want pole position, though? Or would he rather seconds of it he can get ahead of his teammate? But who knows, with the weather coming tomorrow, pole position is probably where you want to start. You want the visibility. You want to be able to see that clean air ahead of you. But Lando Norris making his way over Radion through Eau Rouge, down the Kemmel Straight right now. Let's see what his first sector time will be as he heads down into Lake Combe, turn 5, DRS open into the braking zone, and you can see there it's only a 30.223, so that's still quite slow. That's only 11th fastest in the first sector for Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri making his way down into turn 1, the source. We'll see how he fares as well, making his way through there. It'll be full throttle for him now, and he will not be lifting his foot off that throttle pedal until he heads into the braking zone down into turn 5. Lando Norris, though, making his way through Puon with Lewis Hamilton in his way, who moves out of his way. But you do suspect on a brand new set of tyres, Norris and Piastri will be able to go and improve much quicker than they have done at the moment. Fastest time at the moment is from Charles Leclerc, a 41.635. As Piastri is actually slower that time around, a 30.315, so he's lost a bit of time there. And I'll tell you what, Oscar Piastri's first sector time is currently 18th fastest, so he's in the bottom 3. Max Verstappen is last. I'll show you the sector times in a second as we'll wait for the McLarens to finish their laps, as Norris has gone purple in the middle sector, the first driver today to go sub 43 seconds in sector 2. We know the McLarens have been super strong in that middle sector all weekend, and well, he's gone purple in the last sector as well, and he's done a 41.0 and just put 6 tenths, over 6 tenths on Charles Leclerc in P2 on a brand new set of tyres. Let's see how Oscar Piastri fares. Oscar, he took that first sector personally, as he's just gone fastest in the middle sector by around 0.03 of a second over his teammate, but he's still overall down on his teammate. It is only Q1 though. Q1's not where it matters. It's all about Q3, of course. But let's see how he fares into the bus stop. Will he be able to get to the top of the standings again? Is it going to be purple again? We've seen this so often. Purple in the middle, purple in the last sector from the McLarens. And it's not quite. Bit of a slow last sector there. So he lost about a tenth on his teammate, in 2 tenths nearly, on his teammate in that last sector. So Oscar Piastri, but the McLarens comfortably through there. You don't suspect anyone's going to get close to the times that they've set. But let's just show you the sector times at the moment. And well, you can see there, look, Max Verstappen is last in the first sector. Lewis Hamilton is first. Oscar Piastri and the McLaren's fastest in the second and third sector, and Ocon still quick in that first sector. So maybe a difference in setup choices there by the two Haases as well. Ocon very quick in the first sector, Behrman not so much. Behrman much quicker in the second sector, Ocon not so much. So difference in setup choices, maybe split decisions by the Haases, maybe one to go low downforce, one to go high downforce. We'll see. Didn't also get the track record in sprint qualifying. He did indeed, yes. Yeah, he did. What's going on with the Mercs in the second sector? I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you. I think the Mercs are just not very good here this weekend. So yeah, they've been struggling this weekend, which is very contrary to how they were last season, weren't they? Because obviously they were very quick, and Lewis ended up winning the race. So, whew. Damn, Gasly tracking his shit. Yeah. Gasly is doing very, very good in that car. I think he's very underrated at the moment. Very underrated. What corner does Sector 1 finish at? Sector 1 finishes just before Turn 5. So you'll see Albon make his way through there now. Oh, no, he's on his out lap. Let's see who is there at the moment. So let's have a look. I'm trying to see who's actually on a push lap right now. So is Max on a push lap? Max is on a push lap. So let's stay on board with Max, shall we? Let's stay on board with Max Verstappen. No worries, all. Good to see you. So here we go. Max Verstappen making his way down into Eau Rouge. Let's see how he fares. Can he improve on that current 30.344? He's the slowest in the first sector at this moment in time. So let's see how they fare. Now, the mums can stay off camera at the moment. They can hear you, yes, they can. That's all right. No worries. This is a bit of a family stream, isn't it? It's a family stream. But yes, let's keep an eye on Max Verstappen, shall we, as he heads down into turn 8. And that first sector is a 30.250. So that has moved him up into 14th. So Max Verstappen, 14th. As George Russell has now gone purple in the first sector. So have Mercedes gambled on a more lower downforce setup, which is why their middle sector is considerably slower. That might be the reason why. Maybe they're gambling. Maybe the Mercedes are the team that we saw would be gambling. on the lower downforce setup. But Max Verstappen, let's see how his middle sector fares. I do expect him to be probably as quick, maybe just off the pace of the McLarens in that middle sector, as it seems they've added a bit more wing to that Red Bull. And yes, he is just off of the McLaren's pace in that middle sector. A 43.091, third fastest in the middle sector compared to Norris and Piastri, who did 42.8s and 42.9s. So around a tenth and a half off of the McLarens he is in that middle sector. That's a bit better from George Russell in the middle, but yes, clearly indicating that that lap time, that middle sector time, is something of a lower downforce configuration for the Mercedes. And Verstappen goes into P3 there, 3 and a bit temps back off the two McLarens. So yes, teams have added more wing to ensure that they're in better suited for tomorrow's predicted conditions, which do seem to be very wet. So Russell only moves up into P8. So even with potentially a lower downforce configuration, he is not improving. So that's not the gamble that Mercedes were hoping for. They were hoping they could gamble maybe for a lower downforce setup and get at the top of the standings. Alonso can only move up into 16th. We have 33 seconds, 30 seconds as it currently stands remaining of this Q1 time. There are drivers making their way across the start-finish line now to start their final push lap. We have currently Alonso in the drop zone, Ocon, Stroll, Colapinto and Bortoleto. And I think Alonso has already done his lap, so Alonso is out and not going to improve. Bortoleto pushes Tsunoda down, but Tsunoda is currently on a lap at the moment, so we'll see how he fares. Ocon is currently on a lap as well. Stroll is not going to improve, so Stroll, the two Aston Martins are out, and Stroll increases once again his unwanted record, or maybe it is a wanted record, I am starting to think of at this moment in time, of the most Q1 exits of anyone in F1 history. Gasly, purple in the first sector, looking to try and get out of Q1 for the umpteenth time in that Alpine. Colapinto, he is currently on a push lap as well, as Liam Lawson is slowing down for him. He seems to be safe. Lawson in P8. Ollie Behrman went up to P5. Another great performance from the Haas's. We'll see if Ocon is going to be able to make it. Another double great performance from the Haas's, and both get out of Q1. He finished P5 in the sprint race, and he can only go to 13th. That is a good improvement for him, but it does seem that I think Antonelli is out of Q1 again, by the way. So we've lost, confirmed, Antonelli, Alonso and Stroll. Lewis Hamilton is at risk here again of another Q1 exit, with Gasly improving, with Colapinto improving. There is a green middle sector for Lewis Hamilton, so we'll see. It's all about this last sector for Lewis, barring a rear lockup, and Gasly moves up into 11th, so Hamilton is most definitely at risk here of going out again in Q1. He needs to ensure that this bus stop chicane is tidy for him. The middle sector is 3 tenths quicker than that of Pierre Gasly and those ahead of him. It is all about this last sector. He has navigated it correctly this time, and he does safely get through into P7. That has pushed Bortoleto out. Colapinto, can he get through and make it a double Alpine Q1 through for them? And he can't. It's 19th and 20th for Stroll, and at the end there we have lost Gabriel Bortoleto in 16th, Colapinto in 17th, 18th for Kimi Antonelli, struggling here this weekend, and Alonso and Lance Stroll. Wow. Not very good, was it from them? But you can see Leclerc and Hamilton separated by just 0.02 of a second there. Very, very little to separate them, but very, very close at the end there. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri separated by just under 2 tenths in Q1. Verstappen 3 tenths back from Lando Norris. Isaac Hadjar P4, by the way. Behrman P5. We've got Hadjar and Behrman ahead of the Ferraris at the end of Q1. That is tremendous. Hamilton's had his lap time deleted. Hamilton has had his lap time deleted. 4 track limits and is out of Q1. Oh my goodness. Lap time deleted. Lewis Hamilton, another Q1 exit for him at turn 4. At turn 4, Eau Rouge, just like Oscar Piastri yesterday, who got his lap time deleted in Q2. Lewis has had his lap time deleted because of track limits through Eau Rouge. Oh my goodness, what a weekend it's been for Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari. And well, that is no good, is it? It's no good, that. That is no good. Wow. He had his first lap deleted as well. I don't think he had his first lap deleted. I'm not sure. But Lewis Hamilton, out of Q1 due to a lap time being deleted. The TV coverage has gone to an advert as his lap time has been deleted, so I'm sure I will get a view of it shortly to see exactly where it has occurred and see if it's by the smallest of margins. But look, if you're inside the white lines, you're in, or outside the white lines, you're outside the white lines at the end of the day. But Bortoleto has snuck through by the skin of his teeth there, getting through into 15th, so he'll be able to participate and have another opportunity. But wow, all the Ferrari fans talking about my shirt being cursed. Yeah, no Ferrari shirt today, and unfortunately, yeah, wow, man, wow, that's bad. That's bad. It's not good, is it? It's no good, that. Oh, guys, well, hit the like button. Hit the like button for us. Nearly 4,000 of you in the stream right now. If you could, yeah, hit that subscribe button as well, it'd be much appreciated. How would Russell's future look like if Verstappen moves to Merc? Well, yeah, I think we said he'd go the other way to Red Bull, but someone check if Behrman is racing without a seat, but Haas seems too light. He's doing all right, and so that is a big shocker. That is a big shocker for. Seeing Lewis and Kimi out in Q1 was not what we want to see. And twice in a row. Antonelli and Hamilton. So still yet to see an actual replay of it. Waiting for it to arrive. So TV coverage is coming back on now on my end. So watch it now. They've gone straight to it. Where did he exceed track limits? Yeah, it looks, I mean, from the onboard, it looks like he's... See it? I mean, yeah, it looks like it. It's the smallest of margins, but he's outside the white lines. He's outside the white lines. So, good to see you. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye, everybody.
First time he is out on Spa. It's your birthday tomorrow, Stephen, and you want Oscar to win. It very well could happen. It very well could happen. So, put the wall back, Taco. Yeah, real shame there for Lewis Hamilton. He's standing his Ferrari for... Oh, no, that's him being weighed, isn't it? So, oh, dear. Oh, dear. So, yes, we've lost Lewis Hamilton, Colapinto, Antonelli, Alonso, and Lance Stroll there in Q1. Not good. Not good. So, that's not Mrs. Stuffey. It's the mother-in-law. What's happening to Kimi? Another Q1 qualification? I don't know. He just doesn't seem to be very in tune with that Mercedes here this weekend, does he, at Spa? I would have thought it would be a good circuit for him, but yeah, clearly something's not hooking up for him in that Mercedes. But Mercedes in general aren't really hooking it up, are they? George Russell's also not like setting the world alight this weekend at Spa. So they're analysing it on the TV coverage of Ant Davidson, and yeah, he's definitely. It looks like he's definitely over. I need to see an outboard shot, but his onboard shot does look like he's comfortably inside the white lines there. So, if they can figure out the pit's time and location issues, what track would you like to see the finish line at the end of a long straight to give the chance? Oh, I don't know. I think that the one that jumps to my mind is like Fuji. Fuji was always a good race for that, wasn't it? What's going on with the Astons today? It looks like they haven't wanted to turn up, isn't it? Yeah, not sure. Not sure with the Astons. 19th and 20th for Stroll and Alonso. But here we go. Q2 is underway, guys. 15 minutes remaining of this Q2 session. Who are we going to lose this time around? Gabriel Bortoleto getting through there with a little help by Lewis Hamilton getting his lap time deleted. Can he take full advantage of that? And can he get himself into Q3 like he did yesterday in SQ3? But we will have a look at sector times afterwards. But yeah, I mean, well, actually, let's have a quick look at sector times now, as no one is actually making their way out onto track. And we can have a look at top speeds. But you can see here that as Matt has on Lewis Hamilton's radio, is everything okay? Track limits at turn 4. Am I out? Yeah, lap time is deleted. P16. No response from Lewis Hamilton. He seems quite bewildered, to be honest. But yes, looking here at the sector times, you can see Max Verstappen slowest of them all with a 30.250. So he's definitely added more downforce to that car because he's nearly matching the McLarens in that middle sector. Of course, a tow can help drivers down the first sector, of course, all the way through to Kemmel Straight down into Lake Hume. But you can see there the Alonso and Stroll. Slow everywhere, basically. Slow everywhere, but Esteban Ocon still quick through that first sector, but not so much in the second sector. Lewis Hamilton's last sector as well was actually pretty quick there. So a real shame for him, of course, but all of his own doing. So yes, let's see different approaches in this qualifying and for the race tomorrow with setups because of the incumbent rain that is arriving tomorrow. So yeah, going to be interesting. Horrible stroke of luck for Lewis. Look, it's the smallest of margins, but it's still down to you to keep within the white lines. That's not the car's fault. That's your fault. So as much as I'm a Lewis fan, when it comes to track limits, there's no one you can blame but the driver. So I need to be shirtless so both Ferraris get out of queue. No one wants to see that, okay? No one wants to see that. We'll keep it PG. Gasly really has been pushing that tractor to the limits today. Gasly, I tell you what, Gasly is doing fabulous work at the moment in that Alpine. He's doing brilliant work, and he's not getting the credit he deserves. So I'm on the full Gasly train at the moment, and making sure that he gets the credit he deserves because he's doing brilliant in that Alpine. Just a shame that, of course, strategies and reliability issues have meant that he's ended up, of course, falling back in the races. But yeah, he's doing very well and outperforming that car. So old power unit and rain settings for Aston? No, just a crappy car. I think so. Yeah, they're not very happy about it. They're putting all their stock, aren't they? They've put literally every bit of development into 2026. They did bring an update package actually to Imola, which did improve them. But yeah, it's not. We all knew that it was going to be a tough season for them. So the Haas with low downforce sure is impressive. Yeah, it is good. It is good. Last year's winner out in Q1. I know. Would be sick seeing Gasly in a top team car. I think he deserves that opportunity again, yeah. However, I think, unfortunately for Gasly, I do think that people still think he's the same driver back in Red Bull, but that was so many years ago now, and he's developed and matured so much since then. I think he deserves a new opportunity, but unfortunately, I think his only opportunity in a top team now will be if Alpine become a top team. Which aren't out of the realms of possibility with the new regs, because no one knows. And they are moving to Mercedes power units and gearboxes. So that may be a blessing in disguise for them. You never know. But right, who is on that first push lap? I think Max Verstappen is, isn't he? Let's keep an eye on Max again, shall we? Let's see if he can bring himself off the bottom of the standings in Sector 1, because he's a bit slow through there at the moment, and it's a 30.163 for him, and that's much better, but it's only 17th fastest. So Max and Red Bull and McLaren most definitely have slapped more downforce on the car, and they are looking at a wet weather race tomorrow, 100%, because that is very, very different to the sector times that Max Verstappen was setting yesterday in sprint quali. So yeah, they've added more downforce because of the weather for tomorrow. This is what makes this qualifying a very intriguing one, because you can see there Esteban Ocon has gone purple in the first sector, sub 30 seconds, 29.971. So we'll see how Ollie Behrman fares again. I do think that they've split their setup choices, one with low downforce, one with high downforce, Behrman being the more higher downforce setup at the moment. But it's worth the risk, isn't it, I guess, because you never know with the weather. 42.798 for Max Verstappen in the middle sector, and that's the fastest we have seen of anyone thus far in this qualifying session, even quicker than the two McLarens. Yuki Tsunoda moves himself up into fourth in the middle sector as well, so a nice lap going there from Yuki Tsunoda. Let's see if he can keep that going. But Max Verstappen is about to cross the start-finish line. Let's see what lap time he can do. Is it sub 1:41? And it is indeed a 40.951. That's a good banker lap for Max Verstappen. I don't think he'll need too much more than that, as Esteban Ocon sets a 41.675. Look at that. That's the difference between low and high downforce setups here, guys. Ocon, a purple in the first and last sector, but he's a full second off of Max Verstappen in that middle sector. That is unbelievable there. That is the nature of taking two different approaches to this Spa-Francorchamps circuit, as Lando Norris is going even quicker this time around than Max Verstappen in that middle sector. So a good lap here from Lando Norris, who seems to have just a little bit of an edge on this lap over his teammate at the moment. Of course, it all depends on the last sector and the last couple of corners through the bus stop chicane. Can Lando keep it together? He can, but he loses, importantly, a 10th in that last sector, and that is what has kept Piastri just ahead by a smidge over Lando. But still, there's been less than 1/10 of a second separating the two of them in Q1 and Q2 thus far, and that gap consistent to Max Verstappen again. Just over 3/10 as it was in Q1. Good lap from Yuki Tsunoda though. 6/10, 3/10 behind his teammate, currently in P4. Liam Lawson, not a good really lap from him. Carlos Sainz, a poor lap from him as well. Isaac Hadjar, let's see how he fares. He's going quite nicely. Pierre Gasly as well, 43.862. A bit of a slow middle sector from Pierre Gasly, so I don't suspect this is going to be that quick. He might drop to around Liam Lawson's range. Yes, there we go. So because if you have a slow middle sector, it pretty much guarantees that your last sector is not that great either. But actually, Gasly recovered quite nicely there. Charles Leclerc splits the two Red Bulls, 4.5 back from Oscar Piastri, a 41 flat from him. Isaac Hadjar only moves up into P8, 9 back. We're still looking at Ollie Behrman, who has dived into the pit lane after a very poor last sector there, so not sure what happened with Ollie Behrman. I'll see if I can see what happened there. Gabriel Bortoletto and Hulkenberg up into 11th and 12th. Carlos Sainz, yeah, he had a very poor lap. So Ollie Behrman, the only driver yet to set a lap time. We have 7.5 minutes remaining of this Q2 session. It's currently Piastri and Norris and Verstappen at the top, in the top three. Well, in the bottom five, it is Hulkenberg, Bortoletto, Gasly, Sainz and Behrman currently at risk. But there's lots of room for improvement out there at the moment. Most predictable front row lockout for McLaren. I said that at the start, to be honest with you. Yeah, said that at the start. Because if you're trimming downforce, we know that the Red Bull hasn't got the pace over the McLaren over a single lap. We know that. We saw that yesterday. So watching an onboard of Ollie Behrman to see where he lost time and why he exactly bowed out of his lap. And, oh my goodness, Ollie Behrman had a big moment through Pouhon. So he got onto the exit curb of turn 10 and 11, which is Pouhon, and well, the car grounded out, bottomed out, and he caught a very big snap, and he went off track there. And thankfully, there's lots of escape road on the outside of turns 10 and 11, and yeah, that's why he had to bow out of his lap, and he only hasn't set an actual official lap time yet. Is there rain tomorrow? Most definitely, yeah. I mean, the approach of the drivers with their setups and what we're seeing sector time-wise and top speed-wise, we're seeing a few still try and gamble on the low downforce setups, but primarily every team has added more downforce to the car because you want more downforce for a deluge that can always potentially happen at Spa tomorrow. Hopefully it's not as deep as that or as heavy as that, but yeah. What happened to Hamilton? Track limits for Lewis Hamilton through Eau Rouge. So yes, it meant his lap time. He qualified 7th. He got through comfortably, but by the smallest of margins, he was outside of the white lines through the top of Eau Rouge Raidillon. And yes, because of that, he had his lap time deleted, and that's why he's down in 16th. So Liam has to speed up. Yeah, I mean, look, there's lots of drivers there, but I think there's improvements for them. Definitely. It's intriguing. I mean, the gap to the McLarens, though. I mean, a full 1.5 seconds between 14th and 1st. I mean, over a second difference between Ocon in P9 to Piastri in P1. That's quite significant. So, are they using water setup? They are most likely, yes. Got more a wet dependent setup on, yes. It's never comfortable with him in quali since the ground effect started. Yeah, I agree. I don't think these cars have ever suited Lewis Hamilton's driving style. I think it's very difficult as well. That may be different. It may have been a completely different case if the Mercedes first car was very good. As Leclerc is saying, honestly, I don't think there is much more than this lap. It was a really good lap. So Charles Leclerc, 4.5 tenths off of Oscar Piastri, is saying there's not much more in that Ferrari at the moment, which is depressing depressing statement to hear from Charles Leclerc if you're a Tifosi. But yes, Lewis Hamilton, I think if he had maybe started, we know confidence is a big factor in any sport, especially motorsport. If he'd started in a car that was like higher performing, then maybe the approach would be a bit different. He'd have a bit more self-belief. But yeah, clearly this current set of regulations has taken a complete hit to his confidence, and he's always been on the back foot. So Leclerc was on the radio saying that, yeah, exactly, yeah, that's what I just heard. Yuki actually top 5 at the moment, but it's about doing it in Q3. There's still a lot of time for improvement out there. Gasly and Hadjar now starting their last runs or their outlaps here. So we have 3 minutes, just over 3.5 minutes remaining of Q2. It's currently Hülkenberg, Bortoleto, Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz and Ollie Behrman in the bottom 5. Ollie Behrman with a big moment through Poo on turns 10 and 11, and he saved the car very nicely. Otherwise, that would have been a very, very big crash for him. No doubt his heart skipped a few beats there in that moment, but very well controlled by him. Interestingly, that Piastri and Norris are going back, or Norris is at least going back out there, but they're on the same set of tyres, so they're more than comfortable. Maybe it's just to get a bit of a feel of the track to see how it is for, no doubt, that first run in Q3, which will be coming up shortly. Max Verstappen in the pit lane. Is he going to come out, or is he going to save a set of softs? Of course, tyre allocations are still a factor here, so the teams might not all have enough brand new sets available to them to do have a brand new set for every single run that is remaining. But we can see that Albon's on a brand new set, Russell is, Hadjar is, Ocon is, I'm not sure. Yes, Ocon is, Lawson is. Everyone's on a brand new set except for Piastri and Norris as it currently stands at the moment. Charles Leclerc is going out on a brand new set. So they don't think he's safe. That's interesting. I don't think he's safe at the moment, so they're putting him out on a brand new set, which is quite telling. But Max Verstappen is staying in the pit lane. He's not going out again, so they think he's comfortable. They want to save a set of soft tyres for the last couple of runs in Q3. But Pierre Gasly, can he do it? Can he get that Alpine into Q3 once again? We will see. Liam Lawson currently looking to try and get into Q3 as well. Hadjar currently there in 8th. Tsunoda looking to get through into Q3. He's got a very, very good banker lap in. He's requiring a lot. He's requiring a lot of improvements from those behind for him to be knocked out, currently sitting in P5. But we have seen track evolution be a big factor here. But Max Verstappen is the only driver not to go out of these remaining 15 cars in Q2. He feels like he's safe, so he's saving onto an extra set of tyres. But let's stay on board with Pierre Gasly, shall we? And let's see how he fares. He currently has the fastest first sector time of anyone today with a 29.921. Let's see if he can beat that in the closing stages of Q2. Currently in P13, 1.37 seconds back from Oscar Piastri, but he's importantly 2 tenths back of Liam Lawson in P10. That's the time that he's looking for, but there is going to be improvements here as Gasly makes his way through the first sector time, and it's a decent first sector, a 30-second flat. That's very, very good. That's nothing to scoff at. Let's see how about Isaac Hadjar. He's a 10th off of that of Pierre Gasly in that first sector, but we have seen this middle sector be the make or break of many laps here this weekend already, as Gabriel Bortoleto's also done a 30 flat as well. There's not a lot separating these drivers through the first sector. Of course, that first sector is just primarily one corner, and then it's all about your exit through there and your top speed all the way through Eau Rouge to the end of the Kemmel Straight. Let's see how Gasly fares as he makes his way through the middle chicane, turns 12 and 13, as he makes his way through into turn 14. Stavlo, we've seen drivers have their moments through here as Russell has gone fastest in the first sector of purple. The fastest we've seen today at 29.899, but we've seen that Mercedes bleed time through the middle sector. So let's see if George Russell can hang on to that lap time as Gasly does a 43.619 in the middle sector. That's not particularly quick for Pierre Gasly. He's going to need to try and recuperate some time in this last couple of corners as Ollie Behrman and Yuki Tsunoda are starting their laps. So it'll be a while till we see them cross the start-finish line and to see exactly who is going to be able to make it through to Q3 in this session. And Pierre Gasly only moves himself up into P9. That's not probably going to be enough, unfortunately, for the Frenchman. A 41.633. We have checkered flag, and Hadjar moves himself up a position from 7th into P6 as Hülkenberg moves himself up one position as well, ahead of ahead of Esteban Ocon. And Bortoleto, the driver who snuck through into Q3 Q2 by the skin of his teeth due to the help of Lewis Hamilton getting a track limits violation, has just chucked in a 41.3, which means he's currently in P7 and potentially on the cusp of another Q3 qualification here. Gabriel Bortoleto, what a lap from him. Esteban Ocon's done a 29.8 in the first sector. We've seen him be super quick through that first sector all weekend with that low downforce trim. Let's see if he can hold on to that lap time. George Russell did improve, but he bled time in the second and third sector with a low downforce setup in P6 there. Regains that from Isaac Hadjar. Lawson into P8. It could be a double RB Q3 qualification here, but Esteban Ocon is improving. Carlos Sainz hasn't done enough and is out. He is in P14. He is not going to improve. Let's see, Oscar Piastri doesn't improve there. Piastri and Norris on used tyres, so nothing to worry about them. They're comfortably through in first and second. Alex Albon, does he improve? No. He's currently in P10. So there's Esteban Ocon out there at the moment, and that is it, I think. And Ollie Behrman, it's Esteban Ocon, it's the two Haas drivers currently in the drop zone. P12 and P15, can they improve and knock Alex Albon and Gabriel Bortoleto out? No, they can't. Esteban Ocon only up into P11. It's all about Ollie Behrman now. Foot to the floor across the finish line, out of the bus stop chicane, and no, P12 for Ollie Behrman. So Gabriel Bortoleto, who got through to Q2 by the skin of his teeth because of Lewis Hamilton's helping hand of a track limits violation, removing his lap time, is now into Q3. Unbelievable. That is called taking your moment, isn't it, from Gabriel Bortoleto? So we have in the top 10 making their way through into Q3, Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc, Yuki Tsunoda into Q3 for the first time in a long time. George Russell in P6. We have a double RB Q3 for Hadjar and Liam Lawson. Gabriel Bortoleto, his second Q3 of this weekend. Alex Albon, after a very poor qualifying yesterday, has recuperated some of that performance and is in P10. Esteban Ocon and Behrman, unfortunately they can't perform the heroics that they had in the sprint quali in P11 and P12. They are out, as is Pierre Gasly as well. Shame for him. Nico Hulkenberg in 14th and Carlos Sainz in 15th. So yes, very, very big changes of fortune there for the two Haases and Carlos Sainz, who did finish very well 5th, 6th and 7th in the sprint race this morning after qualifying there. So Hulk is just giving himself a challenge for tomorrow to get back on the podium. Actually, he's not even giving himself a challenge. He's making it easier for himself because Hulkenberg actually hasn't qualified in the last 4 races. He's scored points. He has not qualified out of Q1, so this is easy for Hulkenberg. He's going to be on the second step tomorrow. Oh dear, double yellow there. That's probably for gravel at the moment. Who do I think is the best rookie this season? I do think Isaac Hadjar has been the best rookie this season. I think after he starts in Australia, very, very easy for him to get down on himself. But no, he's done very well to recover from that. And I think he's been tremendous. So unbelievable from Yuki. Yeah, very, very good from Yuki. However, I will say, even though that second car is tricky to drive, it should be what he's able to do week in, week out. You know, like it's the bare minimum, really, that the second Red Bull driver should always have is qualifying into Q3. So you stand for Gasly, he deserves better. I agree, but look, much better for Gasly. I mean, it's still okay for Gasly, 13th. Like, at a track like Spa where teamwork and timing in qualifying are crucial, how much do you think team dynamics like slipstreaming could affect the final grid today? Yeah, it could help massively. I think the only team that's maybe going to utilise that is possibly Red Bull. Yeah, Red Bull might utilise that. They might utilise Yuki to tow along Max Verstappen. We'll see if he goes out ahead of Max, if they utilise that. And the same as RB as well. The McLarens aren't going to do it. They're not going to do it. But yeah, the RB is definitely an advantage for sure. Especially if you're running, of course, now more high downforce setups. The top speed advantage, it can be very, very influential. So, why is Stake allowed to be an F1 sponsor despite being a gambling company? I think there's some... I can't remember. I believe it's quite as straightforward as that. Couldn't they? Like, they couldn't name the team as it. Like, they're not allowed to be named Stake F1 in certain countries or something. I don't know. But yeah, there is like a story behind that. So Max finally gets a chance for a slipstream. Thanks, Yuki. I know. We'll see if they utilise it. They may do, they may not. So it may be a bit more of an off-putting thing for Max. So no doubt they'll probably be talking about it though. Money. Yeah, that's normally what it comes down to, Frank. Yeah. Yeah, dogs agree. Hit the subscription button, guys. Hit the subscription button if you haven't already. 51,212 subscribers now. Thank you. And yeah, thanks for obviously everyone who continues to tune in. We'll be live tomorrow, an hour before the race begins, of course. And we'll be just sticking around for a little bit of a chat if you want. They got a lot of money, and Stake don't gamble with money. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know their ins and outs. Oh, that's it. Yeah, some races, yeah, they race as Kick, don't they? Which is the streaming company. Yeah, I saw that. So, how much time left? 12 minutes remaining of. Well, I say 12 minutes remaining of this session. When it gets underway, we have 12 minutes remaining. So, 2 push laps from everyone out there. I do suspect maybe not the RBs, maybe not Bortoletto or Albon. We'll see. Oh dear, Ollie Behrman. Oh, wow. Ollie Behrman lost so much time in the first corner. He went wide into the first corner, and then he had a big snap of oversteer. And Ollie Behrman only just missed out on Q3. So Ollie Behrman, driver error there, could have comfortably got into Q3. Wow, shame there for Ollie Behrman, but it is what it is. You only have yourself to blame. Mercedes have not been strong this weekend. Why? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. Antonelli's clearly having a struggle with that car. Don't know what's going on. George Russell as well. But, I mean, the thing is, George Russell hasn't lit the timing screens up, but he is in Q3. So, yeah, George Russell, as we always say, does nothing and ends up on the podium. Could that be the case for him tomorrow when he's not been at the races here this weekend? Potentially. What's the chances of rain tomorrow? Very high. Over 50% from the reports I've seen. So 100k in no time. Well, hopefully continue to hit that subscribe button, guys, and yeah, we'll get that silver plaque before the end of the year. So big thank you. He didn't get his tyre warm up done well because of traffic, apparently. Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, that would obviously mean why he went wide into turn 1 and lost that grip on the rear on Throttle out of turn 1. So such an essential corner, arguably the most important corner on the circuit. So if you F that up, then yeah, as Oscar Piastri said in a clip earlier on, you have a good 30 seconds to think about what you've done wrong before you end up reaching turn 5. So here we go, green light, pit exit open. 12 minutes remaining of this qualifying session here. Who is going to qualify on pole for tomorrow? It is looking like it's going to be a wet race, so yeah, it's going to be very, very intriguing. I do think it looks like that Piastri and Norris, it is a straight fight between the two McLarens. A bit closer than it was in sprint quali yesterday. Max Verstappen is close. Could he benefit from a tow? Well, we did say, would Yuki be going out ahead of Max Verstappen? Well, on this first run at least, he is not. Yuki is not giving Max Verstappen a tow in the first attempt here. So is that a mistake? We will see. Well, the reason maybe why is Max Verstappen, if that tyre graphic is correct, is on a set of used softs. Max does not have 2 brand new sets of softs available to him for Q3. That's very intriguing. So yes, maybe that tow will be coming in the second attempt when he's on a brand new fresh set of softs. But at the moment, that's quite telling that Max Verstappen only has 1 brand new set of softs available for Q3. It's not normally what you see from a team like Red Bull, because the quick boys are able to at least skip, a couple of runs to ensure that they have brand new softs available. Why can't people just admit George is talented? I'm not bruising my knees for the guy, I think. But you have to admit, I think he's very talented, George. And that's why I said I think it'd be very harsh if he doesn't end up in F1 next season, because I think he's a driver that you would most definitely want in your team. And I personally, and I like Sainz, but I personally rate George Russell higher than Sainz. That's just me. I do have logic for that. I'm not going to explain it right now, but that's just me personally. And I think a midfield team, there was a lot of a scramble about for Carlos Sainz's. For Carlos Sainz, I think the same would happen for George Russell if he was not to be renewed at Mercedes. But it does look like he now will be. So Right, here we go, guys. Here we go. Here we go. Here comes the first run in Q3. Just over 9.5 minutes remaining of this session. They will get 2 attempts of it like they do at most circuits. So let's see how they fare. George Russell is the first one out there. He is currently, he's been one of the fastest drivers in the first sector this day, this session, shall we say. We'll keep an eye on Max Verstappen as well, who on the flip side is one of the slowest through the first sector today. He's actually in the bottom 3 at the moment, 18th fastest, but he does regain that time throughout the remainder of the circuit, as we've seen, of course, difference in approaches of setups. Max Verstappen, who was on a considerably low downforce setup, which allowed him to slingshot himself past Oscar Piastri in the sprint race, is now running a bit more wing to ensure that he is better suited for the wet conditions that are coming tomorrow. But a 30.055 is much better for Max Verstappen there. That moves him up into the top 10 in the first sector, something that he hasn't done all day. So let's see how he fares through the middle sector. And is on a set of used compound tyres as well, whereas Piastri and Norris are on brand new sets. So Piastri is out there first, Norris is out there second. Let's see how they fare. Is it any purples through the first sector for Norris and Piastri? I don't suspect so, because they are running more downforce than that of George Russell. And well, Norris with a 30-point flat. Piastri has the advantage at the moment by just under 100th of a second to his teammate. So advantage Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen with a fastest middle sector there of 42.934, but that is not as fast as we have seen Max go in qualifying today. So he's actually a little bit off of his normal pace in that middle sector. We'll see if it's good enough for him. He's been around 3 tenths back of the McLarens, who have been supreme through this middle sector. Let's see if they can take that purple sector away, as George Russell does a 41.5. We know that's not going to be anywhere near good enough, as we have seen sub 41s, as Oscar Piastri does go quickest in the first middle sector. Can Lando take it away from his teammate in that middle sector? He can indeed. He's just put 2 tenths on his teammate in the middle sector. It's all about the last sector, as Max Verstappen did a 41.0. That's quite slow by his margins, as he can go sub 41. But it's all about the last couple of corners here. The bus stop chicane for Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Who can get on provisional pole? It's advantage Norris at the moment. He has 2 tenths on his teammate, as Piastri does a 40.7. But can Norris hook up the bus stop chicane? It's to the finish line, and he can right now, as Oscar Piastri has just had nearly 2 tenths put on his head in the first run, in the first attempt in Q3, as Lando Norris does a 40.562 compared to Piastri's 47.51. Max Verstappen is half a second off of the McLarens at the moment, as Bortoleto has his lap time deleted there and is down in P9 or P10 at the moment, as Alex Albon moves himself up into P8. And whoa, pressure on for this last run. However, we have seen, of course, pole position not necessarily be the place you want to start. But if it is going to be wet weather conditions tomorrow, pole position is most undoubtedly where you want to start. You want that clean air ahead of you so that you can see a nice, clear, visible track in front of you rather than the spray of your competitors ahead. So, yes, at the moment is Oscar Piastri in P2 behind Lando Norris. Max Verstappen P3. Charles Leclerc, as he has been all weekend, in P4, a solitary P4. 7 tenths, nearly 8 tenths back from Lando Norris. Russell is nearly a full second back of Lando Norris in P5, of Yuki Tsunoda 1.4 seconds back. Liam Lawson is in P7 with Alex Albon in P8. Isaac Hadjar, not a very good lap from him, in P9, and Bortoleto in P10 with his lap time deleted. As Verstappen says, really weird, just didn't have any grip. However, Max Verstappen did set his lap time on a used set of softs, so that might be why he didn't necessarily have the level of grip that he was expecting. So improvements to come from both Red Bull cars as they were on used tyres. And will we see Yuki Tsunoda implemented as an assistance tow for Max Verstappen? Potentially. We will see how it fares. But Yuki Tsunoda looking very good at the moment. His best qualifying in all year? Oh, is it all year? His best qualifying? Well, at least in the Red Bull car, that is for sure. But, 5 minutes remaining, guys, of this Q3 session. Drivers will be going in and putting on a fresh new set of boots, and we will see them go even quicker. Of course, the teams down the bottom there, with Lawson also on a used set. Albon was on a used set. Hadjar and Bortoleto. Everyone was on a used set of tyres there, pretty much, except for Leclerc, Russell, Piastri, and Lando Norris. There we go. Do I think Lawson would have done better than Yuki in Red Bull? I don't know. You don't know. The primary thing is that Lawson didn't get enough of an opportunity to fix his issues in that Red Bull car. That's the one thing that you can I think agree on. So I hope Red Bull lets Yuki shine instead of just using him to tow Max. We'll see. We will see. I think he deserves it. We'll see what the approach is. I guess the question is do they truly think Max even has an opportunity of splitting the McLarens? That's probably where, if yes, then they should use Yuki. But if no, then they should let Yuki do his thing. So, because Max is comfortably quicker than Charles Leclerc, he's not going to finish 4th. So it's only whether or not they think he can get ahead of the McLarens, or at least split the McLarens. So, do I think there's been an uptick in mechanical failures and issues this year compared to last year? 100% yes. It's primarily because the teams have been chasing performance. The cars have got quicker and quicker. And most of the mechanical issues that we've seen have come from cooling issues as the teams are seeking performance. And yes, there we go. Confirmation. Yuki Tsunoda is being let to do what he wants. No assistance from Yuki Tsunoda for Max Verstappen. So Yuki fans out there, let's see what he can do on a fresh set of boots. So that's, I think, what most fans wanted to see. So yeah, that's a clear indication, really, that I think they truly think oh, hang on. Toto giving actual feedback to George Russell. So now your man's going to be signing a contract. You're actually getting on the blower and giving him some advice. Fair enough. But right, here we go, guys. Here we go. If you're enjoying this stream, please hit the like button. Let's get this stream to over 1,000 likes. Surely there's 450 odd of you who haven't hit that like button. It'd be much appreciated. And of course, hit the subscribe button. We'll be back tomorrow for the race, an hour before it goes live, looking at the all-important strategies, the weather report, of course, that's going to be very, very influential for tomorrow, and all of the goings-on in relation to what we can expect for a interesting Spa race tomorrow, because it is definitely going to be. Of course, lots of points on offer. We've already seen a very chaotic race in the past, most recently at Silverstone. Is it going to be the same tomorrow? I do suspect it will be. But let's see what the grid order is going to be first, shall we? It's going to be very different, I think, to what we saw in the sprint quali. It is already a different top 10. Let's see how they fare. Everyone is on a brand new set of tyres now, except for Charles Leclerc and Gabriel Bortoleto. So that's intriguing there. So Gabriel Bortoleto and Charles Leclerc, the only drivers in this top 10 in Q3 who are not on a fresh set of tyres. Everyone else is. There's improvement there for Yuki Tsunoda and for Max Verstappen, who haven't set a time yet on a brand new set of tyres. So we'll see how they fare, and we will keep an eye on Max Verstappen first, because he is going to be the driver to cross the finish line. Now, what's intriguing is that this time around, Lando Norris is the first driver out there of the two McLarens. This time around, Piastri is out last. So we'll see if that fares. Will Piastri, even though he's only not that far back from Lando Norris, will he benefit from that later track evolution, potentially? We'll see. Right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Max Verstappen. This is the last run of Q3. This is it for these drivers. Max Verstappen makes his way through the top of Eau Rouge, Raidillon, down the Kemmel Straight. His DRS will be activated there as he makes his way all the way down to Les Combes, where he overtook and slingshotted his way past Oscar Piastri earlier on today. And it's yellow in the first sector for Max Verstappen, so it's slower. He's lost around a tenth on his previous best on used tyres. Isaac Hadjar has just gone quicker in that first sector than Max Verstappen in the bigger brother team. But will those tyres be coming to him in this middle sector? We will see. Max Verstappen making his way down into Peel on turns 10 and 11. A very fast sector here as Charles Leclerc has gone quickest out of anyone today in that first sector on a used set of tyres. Charles Leclerc absolutely blitzed it through there in that first sector. We'll see if we'll keep an eye on the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc and see if he can make some headway there. It's currently 7 tenths back on the two McLarens as George Russell's even improved. So there's definite improvement there in the first sector. as Lando Norris is slightly slower last time around in that first sector. You're talking a couple of hundredths of a second for Lando Norris slower in that first sector compared to previously. It's all about that second sector for him as he's gone purple again in the second sector. Lando Norris, he's looking to try and extend his current position at the top over his teammate Oscar Piastri, but Oscar Piastri not far behind. We'll see how his middle sector is as Verstappen does improve, but it's only good enough for P3. 3.5 tenths back from the two McLarens as Lando makes his way through the bus stop chicane, and Oscar Piastri is a tenth down on Norris in the middle sector. It's all about the last sector for Oscar Piastri, but Lando looks to be improving, and he does. He improves by a... oh no, he doesn't improve by a tenth, sorry. It's a 40.677 for Lando Norris, so his current provisional pole stands as Leclerc pushes Verstappen down into P4. Where has that lap time come from Charles Leclerc? 40.9 from him, but it's all eyes on Piastri. Can he take pole position? No! He improves by... oh my goodness, it's less than a tenth separating Norris and Piastri. He broke the record yesterday, Oscar Piastri, but it's not enough today to get past Lando Norris. A 40.647 for Piastri, 800ths of a second separating the two McLarens at the top. Lawson moves up into P7. Let's keep an eye on Yuki, shall we? He is currently in P8. He's on a fresh set of boots. Let's see what he can do. He's making his way around the last corner. Where does Yuki go? P6 behind George Russell, ahead of Isaac Hadjar and Liam Lawson. Alex Albon is the last driver here to cross the line and moves P5. Alex Albon at the end goes up into P5, ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, ahead of George Russell. What a lap at the end there from Alex Albon, starting P5 tomorrow. Wow. But there we go. That is our pole position for tomorrow. Lando Norris in P1, Oscar Piastri P2, less than a tenth separating the two McLarens. A further 3 tenths back is Charles Leclerc, who is doing wonderful things in that Ferrari. He needs to listen to, he needs to trust himself. He said that car, I've done the best I can get out of this car in Q2. Well, I'll tell you what, Charles, on a set of used tyres, yes, you heard that correctly, a set of used tyres, he has got ahead of Max Verstappen into P3 as Verstappen says, my God, that was really bad. Just no grip to start the last lap as he goes through a real big slide out of the exit of turn 1. So the Red Bull of Max Verstappen struggling with grip in that last session. So he starts 4th tomorrow. Alex Albon P5. What a turnaround for him from the sprint race and the sprint quali, starting 16th. Now starting 5th tomorrow. George Russell in P6. Yuki Tsunoda P7. Still solid from Yuki, but only just out qualifying Hadjar and Liam Lawson. Look at that. There's 200ths of a second separating Yuki to Hadjar. 400ths of a second separating Yuki to Lawson. Very, very tight. Less than a tenth separating 3 cars there. The RB cars and, of course, the Red Bull of Yuki Tsunoda. Gabriel Bortoleto unable to improve there. He had his first lap time deleted and he only had 1 set of tyres to use down in P10. But still, considering he was given a gift by Lewis Hamilton, down in P16, the biggest scalp again today. Another Q1 exit from him with track limits. His lap time deleted. Bortoleto took full advantage of that. He got through, promoted into Q2, and well, he made his way into Q3. Ocon and Behrman 11th and 12th. Gasly is 13th. Hulkenberg 14th. Carlos Sainz 15th. Lewis Hamilton, we just mentioned, in 16th. Colapinto 17th. Antonelli, who is having a terrible, torrid time here this weekend at Spa, in 18th. And then Alonso and Stroll down at the bottom, starting on the back row in 19th and 20th. And that, barring any penalties, which I don't think are incumbent, that is your grid for the Spa race tomorrow. Ooh, we're in for a good one, aren't we? We're in for a good one. Lando Norris' generational talent. It's time we give our respects to him and downplaying his greatness. Generational talent is a strong word, but he's very good. Charles Leclerc beating the Stuffeyy t-shirt curse. Advantage Lando if the weather is bad tomorrow. Well, yeah, I mean, look, it all depends on the start. Just because he is in pole doesn't mean that he's going to lead into the first corner and lead down into turn 5, but it's a definite advantage for him, that's for sure. So, my pleasure, Jingles. Went down to 1 lap. Albon always pulls it out. Can handle the pressure. RB days had some value. Yeah, definitely. So the McLarens are 3 tenths quicker than Verstappen. They were on average, yeah. Yeah, over a push lap. But over the race, it may be a bit different. So, Dirty Air Wagon Train tomorrow. Potentially. I mean, the difference is tomorrow, as we know, the driver can always make the difference, the car as well, the confidence levels of driving in the rain, finding the grip, changeable conditions as well, making the pit stops at the right time. I mean, we saw Hulkenberg bloody get on the podium last time around at Silverstone in drying conditions, so we'll see if that's going to be the case tomorrow. Not a lot of dry and warm conditions data from Spa. Yeah, tomorrow, yeah. Jarvis, thank you for the gifted, by the way. Much appreciated. Rhythm. Say thank you to Jarvis for giving you a gifted there. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As always, if you can hit the like button, it'd be much appreciated. Speed traps. Yeah, let's show you speed traps. Here we go. So, speed traps. Look who's at the very bottom. You can't even see it. Hang on. Max Verstappen. Slowest in Sector 1. So he's definitely gone for a very wet setup for tomorrow. Complete contrast to how he was yesterday. Of course, with the lower downforce setup and even earlier on. Oscar Piastri also in 18th. Lando Norris got a very, very good exit out of Turn 1. So, yeah, much, much better first sector from him, getting a good advantage in Sector 1. I'm not sure if he got a toe in that last sector, in that first sector, to be honest with you. I'll have to review it. But you can see Sector 2, very, very quick. Leclerc found so much time on his last run. That was tremendous for him. Absolutely tremendous. We'll hear what he's got to say. Verstappen, very good in the middle sector as well. Behrman, this is the thing. Behrman just really, really struggled. As we mentioned, he should have easily got into Q3, but ends up starting position behind his teammate Ocon, who topped the speed traps. So still running a low downforce setup there for him. But yeah. Yeah, Ocon was quick in the speed traps yesterday. And if we look at sector times, I was listening to Charles Leclerc and he's like, I did not expect it. You can see sector times, Lando and Piastri just sneaking under the 30-second mark in the Sector 1 time. And then, of course, they're towards the top in Sector 2 and Sector 3. But Verstappen, only 14th there. So, interesting speed traps, yeah. Lots of difference in approaches to the setups, and we could see some teams really struggle tomorrow, and some teams really excel. Why did he change his setup, Dominic? Because everyone's expecting a lot of rain tomorrow, so everyone adds. So generally, obviously, what you want in wet weather conditions is more downforce. You want more grip. You want more control. If you've got a low downforce setup, you've got less control in slippery conditions. So, right now, it doesn't look like it'll be a wet race. Could backfire on those who set up for it. Well, let's have a look at the weather report, shall we? Spa weather. It's currently looking, so on the BBC weather. Let's have a look. So we can get rid of this now. Move you guys over here. So we can see here. We can see, I mean, it's still quite high. It's going to be raining up until that point. So they may start as a dry. It may not be raining, but it could very well be a wet track. And then you've got 36 to 43%. Thundery showers and light rain. So you can see there. So it's going to be an interesting one. It could be start wet to dry. It's going to be intriguing. The weather can change in 24 hours. It can, especially at Spa. So why was Oscar faster than Lando in the first sector? So that was only... So when you look at these sector times, just FYI, when you look at these in the future, so how it works on multi-viewer is that it's not limited to their Q3 fastest sector. This is their fastest sector throughout qualifying, Q1, Q2, Q3. So Piastri had his fastest first sector was faster than Norris's at some point in this qualifying session. I don't know which one that was. It could have been Q1, it could have been Q2. So that's how you interpret this. Got to take it. Yeah, see you tomorrow, Nero. Good to see you. You're in Belgium and they're predicting rain and thunder for tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So you can see here. I mean, this is the BBC weather report. So let's check another one, shall we? I don't know what this one is. It's Google. So Sunday tomorrow, precipitation shows 45%, 40, 40, 40. The weather channel. Weekend. Sunday. Rain early, then remaining cloudy with showers in the afternoon. Heavy and torrential downpours at times. So, yeah, it's pretty kind of consistent, but there's going to be some rain. It just depends on the level of that rain, doesn't it? So, why is Kimi Antonelli struggling? I really don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. Which circuits around the world that perfectly suit modern F1 but are not on the calendar? We've had this discussion a few times before. Kyalami comes to mind. Hockenheim, Nürburgring. They're always the three that jump to my mind. I'm sure there's more as well. So, would not be surprised if it's a wet race. Exactly, and that's why teams have put more downforce on their cars. So there was an interesting tidbit, I guess. There was an interesting tidbit from who was it? I can't remember. Sky. That's it, Sky. And they were saying they saw one of the Red Bull engineers come down to the McLaren garage to see what level of rear wing they were putting on the car, because they obviously wanted to know for their own choice as well. So, medium downforce rear wing for Max in quali. Very good decision by Red Bull for quali. Yeah, I don't think it's fully like high downforce setups they've gone for, but they've gone for more downforce than they were initially running. Generally speaking, Spa, you're either running a low downforce or medium downforce setup. You're not running a high downforce, but obviously there's different levels that you can add onto the car. So, and from whatever they were running from the sprint race and the sprint quali, Max and Red Bull have added more onto the car. So, you did miss qualifying, Chris. Yep, this is your grid for tomorrow as it currently stands. This is your grid for tomorrow. So yeah, that is it, guys. That is it for this session. We'll have one more run through of the grid for tomorrow, barring any penalties. This is your provisional grid for Spa tomorrow. Lando Norris, P1. Oscar Piastri, P2. Less than a tenth separating the two of them, 0.08 of a second. Charles Leclerc, P3. A brilliant time from him on used tyres. 3 tenths back. Max Verstappen in P4. He got pipped by Charles Leclerc by 0.03 of a second there. Alex Albon, a great lap time from him. 6 tenths back from Lando Norris in P5. He is ahead of George Russell in 6th, Tsunoda in 7th, Hadjar in 8th, and Lawson in 9th, with Bortoletto in P10. Out in Q2 was Esteban Ocon. He will start 11th tomorrow, with Ollie Behrman in P12. Pierre Gasly is 13th, Hulkenberg is 14th, and Carlos Sainz is 15th. And then the big scalp of qualifying was Lewis Hamilton, who had a lap time deleted. He would have easily got through, but his lap time was deleted for track limits at the top of Eau Rouge. Through rally on there, he was outside of the white lines by the barest of margins, and he went out in 16th. Colapinto is 17th. Antonelli in 18th, as we mentioned, is struggling here this weekend. Not entirely sure why. And Alonso and Stroll, very slow in the Aston Martins, start on the back row, 19th and 20th. There we go. That is it for today, guys. What a day it's been. Sprint race. I think qualifying is always very close. It's always very interesting. I love qualifying at the moment. The races, hopefully we're in for a good one tomorrow, and hopefully it's a bit better than what we saw in the sprint race, because it was not as good as it could be, eh? It wasn't as good as it could be. But yeah, it's been a long day. I'm now going to go have a shower because I'm hot and bothered. And yeah, I suggest you guys hit your like buttons. You hit that notification button. It's going to send you straight over to the stream, where I will run a poll, of course, of who you think is going to win the race tomorrow. And yeah, we will see you live at 1 p.m. UK time, an hour before the race begins, wherever you are in the world. And yeah, have a lovely rest of your Saturday, guys. Have a good one. Bye. Hit that like button and subscribe.